Celeb Savant is a career retrospective type interview focusing on singers, actors, and industry experts. Join Barrett Edelstein now as he dives into the entertainment world.
Maxon is an Australian singer and songwriter who is a two-time recipient of the Mornington Peninsula Development Arts Grant. She's the winner of the Green Wedge Songwriting Competition and City of Melbourne Grant recipient. Her ability to shatter yet heal hearts with her raw creations and powerful depth simultaneously makes any listener feel instantly seen, understood, and coaxed into the light. An LGBTQIA+ creative powerhouse, fluent in fusing Americana with 70s folk rock and a modern sheen. Maxon has gone on to share stages and lineups with the likes of Tones and I, Ella Hooper, Alex Leahy, and many more, and has also appeared at major festivals including St Kilda Festival and Melbourne Fringe. She releases her debut album Talking with Strangers in 2026. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Maxon. Where in the world are you and how are you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. I am at home. I'm in my bedroom, actually, in Fingal on Bunawong country in Victoria on the Mornington Peninsula.
Why did you choose the stage name Maxon?
I've gone by the name Max for a while now. My birth name was Madison, which I don't go by anymore, but I like to tell this story because I was ordering a coffee one day and they actually got my name wrong, and I had been looking for a new stage name for quite a while, and they were calling out Maxon for ages, and I was like, oh, this is like really, I think they mean me, and it just felt, I saw it on the coffee cup, and I was like, this kind of feels like a place that I can call home, so that's where that came from.
At what age, whether as a child or teenager, did you think, okay, I want to be in this creative journey, and how did that journey progress?
This is huge, actually, because I think I was singing before I could speak. I think singing has been something that I've always just naturally gravitated towards. I've just always wanted to be a singer. But I think more importantly, how I felt when I sang when I was young. It was like I could never imagine myself doing anything else. I've never really strayed from doing that, except for about 7 years ago when I had a breakdown about just how difficult things can get in life, and there was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, I guess, and I did give it up for 6 months and stopped playing, stopped singing, and when I came back to sort of picking up an instrument again, I realized how much I missed actually just that creative outlet, and if nobody ever heard it, that was okay. It was just like me having to do it for me.
So now then diving into the professional world and taking that head on, are there any aspects of being a professional in the industry that when you started or now or as the journey progresses has surprised you that you did not think would be part of the process?
That's a great question. I think I'm surprised every day. I still get surprised by lots of different things. It's a very fast evolving landscape, but then also not at the same time. You've still got these different processes of everyone's got their way of doing things. I don't know if I recall like a very specific incident, although now that I'm really thinking about it, I think the one thing that throws me a bit about the industry is how forward people can be with their thoughts on your creativity. Yeah, and I think that throws me sometimes because I think it's a world where we should be expressing ourselves freely and doing things that we love. So I guess there's things in that you could say.
Now, how do you create a song?
I am just always melody first. It sort of feels like these beautiful gifts or downloads that come in when I'm doing kind of mundane tasks like driving or having a shower or something, and then usually I'll hit record and capture that moment, and quite often there's either a theme or a word that comes out with those melodies, and I'll then process that for a little while and come back to it and then figure out what those words are going to be. And I collaborate a lot with my partner as well. We write a lot of the songs together. So kind of bring those home and say, like, this is where I got to today and how can we shape these stories and where has it come from? And because often it's just a download.
So you said that you take the melody and a word comes and it takes a moment for you to process that. That processing period, is it short, quick, long? Is it different every time?
Different every time, absolutely. So my latest song that we wrote that in about 10 minutes. It was a feeling that I'd had, impromptu, just got the guitar, wanted to write something for my brother, and it just sort of fell out because I'd been thinking about it for so long, but it fell out from start to finish. Here are the words and here's the melody all in one. Whereas other songs, I might write a melody, or a melody might come in, I might write the chorus, or I might write one little hook and I might sit on it for years before we even come back to it. So it just depends.
And does that period, when it sometimes takes years, does it frustrate you, or you're just used to it now?
I'm just used to it. I just go with the flow. I think it's really important to let things just be as they are sometimes. And sometimes songs come in that are just for me. And then sometimes songs come in, I feel like, oh, I'd like to share this with everybody else. So I finish them. For the most part, I like to come back to a lot of things and try to finish them just for the art of practice of writing. But yeah, don't always feel the need for them to be completely full finished pop songs, you know.
Tell us about your latest releases, and what can you tell us about what's coming out next?
No secrets with me. Let's just get it all out on the table. I've just released a new single called Little Blue, which had just been such a beautiful journey. It's been a crowd favorite for the last couple of years touring, and it was just really nice to get a different version to everybody that has only ever heard it live acoustically. So it's nice to be able to present that, and that's the final single leading up to my debut album.
Why, after all this period of time, that you decided to release the album now and not before?
So many things, and we can talk about unpacking my issues with so many things, confidence, all of the things. I think I just spent a lot of time not fully embodying who I am as an artist, and it just took me a little bit of time to figure out that it was okay to be an artist. I've been in this world where I've always sang, I've always toured, I've always written music, but alongside that, I've always had like 5 other jobs. And I just, in the last couple of years, have been like, I just want to make music. Why does everybody tell you that you have to have a real job or a day job or any of those things? I just stopped listening to all of that outside noise and just decided to go for it properly for the first time in my life. When I did that, I received some funding from our local shire to make my record. And so that kind of gave me a bit of boost in confidence. Awesome.
What do you enjoy about performing live?
I love the connection. I love being with people and having them share stories with me afterwards and what some of the songs have shifted for them personally and emotionally. And it's a big deal to me to be with people and hear, like, you know, details and things that are going on in their lives. It means a lot that the music is doing something for them. That's my favorite part.
Okay, so you referenced that connection. I'm that person who's right up in front. I'm dancing, I'm jamming, I'm doing my thing. I'll take my cell phone out for maybe 1 or 2 videos, 1 or 2 photos, then I put it away. I notice these days that a lot of people are posting and tweeting and videoing for a lot of time. From the person potentially seeing a bunch of phones compared to eyes, do you not feel that takes away a little bit from that connection you're referring to? Or it's just where society is at this time?
This is huge, right? This is a big conversation to keep having, and I'm a big believer myself in taking a couple of photos and then popping that away and being with the experience and keeping that memory close to your heart. It's also, on the other hand, really great because we get to see and relive the experience that you're living through the videos and things that are getting posted. So that's really great as well. But I do believe that it is important that we turn those phones off. For my wedding, actually, we had everyone submit phones and turn their phones off before they came into our wedding. If I could do that for shows, I think it'd be a great thing to do, just to be able to turn to the person next to you and also engage in what you're experiencing together is such a beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I still budget for my CDs. I love my CDs. For me, it's an energy exchange to say thank you to you guys for the hard work that you've done. I love the journey of the choice, the booklet, the unpacking, the listening to song from 1 to whatever number. I am unsure if you are or not aware, a massive uptick of physical around the world. In the US last year, $1.4 billion on vinyls, the biggest since 1983. 2 years ago in the UK, 5.9 million vinyls sold, the biggest since 1993. Last year, also in the UK, there's a basket of products that they gauge exchanges on, and based on these exchanges, they monitor it for tax purposes, which obviously there needs to be a high number of daily exchanges. And because of the upsurge of CDs again, CDs are now back in the basket. And the research of all of this is that the teenagers are diving into this world, not necessarily the older nostalgic people. Then we have Spotify and the DSPs that people listen to music on. What are your observations of the landscape at the moment?
Again, such a big topic that we could probably digest and talk about for a very long time. Firstly, I love that you enjoy that tangible experience and that exchange as well, because it's such a beautiful thing to be able to give. On the other side of that, for me to be able to give that to somebody is, take this piece home with you. You've seen the show, you've enjoyed, we've had this exchange. Let's keep that going. That's really amazing. And it does feel a bit more disconnected, I think, when you're just giving them a Spotify link or something, because you have no idea what's happening there at all. You have no idea who's listening to that at the end of the day, and that's a really hard thing too as an artist. And you had a very specific question around the landscape of the industry because it's evolving so fast. It's so hard to keep up. And so for me, I just like to remind myself and whoever's around us to just slow down and do what feels right for you. And for us, that is those physical, exchanges. I'm printing vinyls. I've just got some CDs done, which I'm really excited about because it's something that we just have, this thing that we get to keep. It's art. It's artwork that we miss out on when we're just streaming. So I don't know. It's a big conversation. Isn't it? It's where do you actually begin? Because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with AI, as you're probably aware, of artists being recreated and their voices being used and profiles being hacked into on Spotify. And that's a very scary thing. I'm still utilizing those platforms and I'm still in those spaces mainly because of culture and not sort of taking that away from anybody just yet who is using those platforms. It's a big thing we're all dealing with.
Do you think that the listening audience should have more of an understanding of what's going on? I'll give you an example. So I teach spinning classes and I've decided to do some focus groups. I did a focus group of 10 people, then 8 people, then 3 people. Cross ages, cross diversity, cross cultural. They mainly listen to music on DSP, Spotify, digital. I said to each of the groups, if an artist has had 100 million streams, how much money do they think the artist got in the back pocket? The first group of people said $50 million. The second group of people said $1 million. The third group of people said 300,000 to 20 million. I said, actually, no, it's more like $1,000 or $2,000. And they were shocked and horrified. I do know Ray, Snoop Dogg, a bunch of artists are speaking of the conversation around this. A lot of other artists I've spoken to, though, have had the understanding or thing that Spotify is their business card. They can see they're popping off in Brazil, in Yugoslavia, and in Chile. So they go, cool, I'm going to now tour there. Do you think there needs to be more of a conversation around this?
I think it's really important that we keep having these conversations. I think it's important people know where their money is going as well. If you're paying a monthly subscription to listen to music that you love, and especially if you're supporting independent artists, I would assume that you would want to know where that's going and what you're supporting. So yeah, I don't know. I think we should still keep having these conversations, especially as it's going to keep changing as well. And we're losing more and more control. So it's just about knowing what you're doing with your money and what you're doing with your time and your where you're spending your energy. It's all encompassing. Yeah, just knowing what you're doing. I think it's important. Yeah.
But I mean, that comes across in everything in life. The banks say we must do things this way. This organization says we must do this way. And I question, no, I don't want my banking app on my phone. I don't trust it being there, so I'm not going to do it. So don't tell me to do that.
I understand that. And I think because I live in a small-ish community, even though the peninsula has grown so much, I always come back to like, what's the best thing we can do in our community here to keep the communities alive and keep the ecosystems going? And we talk about getting rid of cash, and it's like, well, that's for me, that's such a beautiful energy exchange.
Exactly.
I don't want that to all be in the bank.
I love this game. I know if I had to ask you this question tomorrow, the next day, or the next day, I know your answer will be different every time, simply because there are millions of them. Due to that, I'm not saying favorite. Once we finish this conversation, if you want to go away and you just feel like listening to 5 other artists, who would those artists be?
You're right. This does change. But pretty much for me, I usually would go to Sarah Bareilles, Jewel, Alanis Morissette, a bit of David Bowie. One of my friends, Karen Fields, I listen to her a lot, and I think, just a very grounding moment or mix to add in there.
Maxon, the podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message to the audience, what would you like to say?
My record coming out pushed me to be more honest than I've ever been in my life, and it's allowed me to be just super true to myself and everyone around me, and really kind of understand where unconditional love comes from and how important it is that we stay connected with each other as human beings in community and beyond. So just love is the purest, highest frequency. Just keep it going and be kind. That's kind of where we're at.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Celeb Savant. Please follow Barrett on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Celeb Savant. That's CelebSavant.